Remember, the ones that they showed with the Z71 package, that's not a $60,000 car, guys. You're looking at about $70,000, and that is what a Shelby GT500 costs. So you are more apples to apples as far as price, but performance, you're way off. Yeah, I was gonna make this possibly a more fun video, but you know, sometimes when you're, especially when the emotions are hitting you really hard, you just want to get the information out there. And that is, of course, everybody comparing the new Shelby 500 to the C8. The truth of the matter is that they're just not apples to apples. So what I'd like you to do is just hear me out and then comment down below your thoughts on what I'm about to say, because I think that everybody that is doing this comparison is completely just dead wrong. You know, there's just something about owning a Corvette. It's like the American dream. You know, it's something that a lot of people really want to gravitate towards, and especially as they get older. And the Mustang has always been just that affordable horsepower car that you can attain even at an early young age, and the Corvette's just always been, you know, it's top tier, top trim. But I want to say that the C7 has been my favorite, and for a lot of reasons, just like a lot of you guys watching. But the C8, I have never been more emotionally moved about the release of a vehicle than I have been about the C8 release. That car is absolutely 95% perfect. You just cannot argue with the performance of a mid-engine car. You take that engine, you put it over the rear axles, and you have just immense traction. Wow, what an amazing thing that you can get a C8 for under $60,000. No markup, because this is not a specialty vehicle. You have the Grand Sports and you have the Z06s, but they are trim levels. It's not a Shelby, Cobra, GT500, any of that. But the Corvette, my gosh, man, it's just like everybody across the world, when that thing came out from the back of the stage and then did its little circle, its little dance there, I mean, my jaw dropped, just like probably you guys watching. It was absolutely unreal. I love exotics. The Euro spec cars really kind of hit me home in the heart. I just love the design because they're more, it's artwork. It really is. And the C8, Chevrolet has nailed it. They have nailed it. The interior is perfect. But the thing is, they're still not apples to apples with the GT500. Here we go. We're going to talk about why everybody is so wrong comparing the two cars. I used to sell Chevrolet. I got out of the Army, I sold Chevrolet, and then I started this whole YouTube adventure. And I definitely would encourage, if you're new to the channel, you like stuff like this, you like talking like this, you know, hit the subscribe button. It's free. Not much in life is free these days, but this is. But as far as the Corvette, you know, I've sold a bunch of them, a bunch of Camaros, everything else. There is a certain buyer that goes after the Corvette. Now we're kind of blurring the lines a little bit of just how beautiful and exotic this car is, and we cannot forget the performance. We're talking 0 to 60 in 3 seconds or less is what they said. Holy cow. Now here's the thing. I've talked to Serpent Stangs as a friend of mine. Steve is his name. A bunch. I've talked to Stang Mode a bunch about this. The thing is, 0 to 60 is, let's not get it confused. It's really a measure of traction. And that should be expected. A low 0 to 60 time should be expected from a car where you take the engine, you put it over the rear axles, you have more bite. Nobody is talking about is what happens after 100. Because the Stingray it's 495 horsepower if you get the Z71 package. Gives you MagneRide, gives you that performance exhaust, some other goodies, bigger brakes, you know, stuff like that. Stuff that we've already seen over and over and over, especially across the C7 lineup. You know, it's nothing new. It's an option. So, and its base form at $60,000, which is going to have destination fees, it's going to have all of the rest of that. So let's say $63,000, maybe $64,000. You're going to get a base 1LT Stingray. It's going to be cut down, no frills, nothing. Yes, you can get a bunch of performance for the money at that price point with the Corvette. Time will tell, you know, 0 to 60 confirmed on the street what you could do with it. Time will tell what it's going to do on a racetrack. Time will tell what it's going to do in the quarter mile. But in its base form, we're talking no options, because there is none. It's a standard 8-speed dual clutch. Remember this, which is absolutely awesome. Awesome to have a dual clutch at that price point. But where does that leave the Shelby? Well, the Shelby is, even in its base trim, not really a base. It's not like buying a base Mustang GT, okay? You can buy a base Mustang GT with the only option being like a 10R80 with the 18, 19s, and soon to be 20s. So if that's your only option, you can buy those for low $30,000. So you are more than $25,000 apart. If you want to talk about an apples to apples comparison, base versus base, if you're comparing it to a Mustang, you have to take that naturally aspirated C8 and compare it to a naturally aspirated Mustang GT. And you are over $25,000 apart. They are not apples to apples. That C8 will absolutely crush a Mustang GT. Mark my words, it's going to dominate the Mustang GT. It just will. There's a lot. I mean, you're talking about a car that is hundreds of pounds lighter, smaller, more nimble, has more horsepower, has more torque. It's really not even a discussion. So why are people talking about the Mustang? Well, it's coming down to price. So let's pretend at $60,000, you're getting a standard DCT. You're getting no options. You're getting no front-facing cameras, because remember, it's a 1LT. You're getting no heated and cooled seats. You're probably going to get no navigation. You're not getting any extra aero on the car. It is base. You're getting small wheels. You're getting standard brakes, all of that. Remember. Now, when you go to the GT500, the 2020 GT500, remember what you're getting. You're getting huge brakes, tons of aero. And I'm not talking about the carbon fiber package, which is $18,500. Huge money. We're talking about the base Mustang. Let's pretend like you just wanted that car, because remember, it's a standard DCT as well, 7-speed. But base for base, you're going to get a lot more bang for the buck in the Shelby GT500. Remember, if we exclude destination and all that stuff that comes with the Shelby GT500, you're talking about $71,000. So you're about $11,000 apart. So let's not forget what $11,000 buys you. It buys you 760 horsepower compared to the just beneath 500 in the C8. Yes, the C8 is supposed to have better 0 to 60 time, but I am honestly more interested in what it's going to do in the real world on the racetrack, going in a straight line on a road course. Because remember, the GT500 is going to have brakes, it's going to have aero, it's going to have the magnetic ride, it's going to have all of that stuff standard. So that's what $11,000 is buying you. It's buying you a supercharged V8 with over 260 more horsepower. Yes, it weighs more, but you're also gaining all of the extra stuff that comes with it. You can option out a GT500 to be very, very expensive. You can option that thing out to be, you know, over $100,000 if you want to. But in its base trim, you can't compare them apples to apples, because they're two separate cars. Remember, I love the C8, but I also love the GT500s. Yes, we're not talking about markup. That's going to obviously hurt the sales compared when we talk about the GT500, because the Corvette is a Stingray. They're going to be everywhere. Everywhere. It's going to be a great car. I want one badly, but they just don't compare. I'm very interested to see what the performance is going to be when you compare them side by side on a track. If I think a better comparison would have been like a 1LZ, no frills, no options, Z06 C8, which has not been announced yet, but will probably have similar horsepower. Then compare that to a no options 2020 GT500. That is a fair comparison. But I'm very, very excited for these cars to release. I just think that everybody is a little bit wrong and not thinking about the big picture here, because if you want a C8 to be somewhat spec'd out the same as a base Mustang there, the 2020 Shelby, you have to add in a couple of options, and that brings the price up. So then you're crossing that $70,000 price range. Because remember, the ones that they showed with the Z71 package, that's not a $60,000 car, guys. It's not a $60,000 car. you're looking at about $70,000. And that is what a Shelby GT500 cost. So therefore, you are more apples to apples as far as price, but performance, you're way off. This has just got me fired up. Yes, you're not going to pay markup on a Corvette. You freaking better not, because it's a trim level. Just like you can option out a Corvette. You know, you can get, or a Mustang. You can take a Mustang and you can add 401A package, you can add this, you can add speakers, you can add all that stuff, and it drives the price up. But remember, its base trim cloth interior, it's going to be a low $30,000 car. In its base trim on a C8 Corvette, it's going to be that $60,000-ish price range. But everybody's comparing a Z51 compared to a GT500. They're not even close. But what happens, like, let's say, I don't know, after 100? What is the quarter mile times going to be? What is it going to be like on a road course? Time will tell. I can't wait to share all of this with you guys in the future as we find out more stuff and as we explore this vehicle further. But I know this might be a little bit of a lengthy video, but I think that, you know, maybe hopefully will make you think a little bit about this. Now, when we talk about the GT500, is just still comparing that $60,000 price that we heard compared to a $100,000 GT500. Remember, you can still get that GT500 without the carbon fiber. And guess what? Still getting a blower, still getting big brakes, still getting all the performance. It's going to be awesome. Whichever direction you decide to go, I want them both. But I think we all can agree at the end of the day that we are definitely living the best days of our lives when it comes to being an automotive enthusiast. These are truly the horsepower wars. I cannot wait to see what a C8 Z06 is going to bring to the table. Oh my gosh, here we go. But yes, if you have placed an order on a GT500, I think that you should keep it because you are still getting a hell of a bargain. And when you consider that a base C8, what it has in it, when you go see it and you see that it's stripped down, I think it's really going to make you think, and you're going to see firsthand how special the GT500 really is and what makes it that expensive, because it's only honestly base to base about $11,000 apart. You're getting 260 plus more horsepower. You're getting a lot more torque. You're getting big brakes. You're getting aero. You're getting magnetic ride, all of that stuff. But as soon as you compare it to a base C8, not apples to apples, guys. You have to add in the options, and then that brings the price up. So you can match them at that point by price together, but the performance is still in favor of the GT500. So hopefully, even though this is a little bit of a lengthy video, hopefully you have made it to the end. Let me know again in the comments, how do you feel about this stuff? You know, yes, one might be more attractive than the other in favor of the C8. But, you know, again, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Just something to think about. I'll see you guys later.